Hello and welcome to the Practice Marketing Podcast, highlighting successful strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics and experts so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. Hi, I'm your host, Neil Trickett, CEO of Practice Promotions, and today's focus, we're going to talk about the secret to high-performing practices and organizations with Jennifer Raams. And Jennifer is an entrepreneur and leadership coach with over 20 years of healthcare leadership experience. And as the former chief operating officer of Jaco Rehab, she helped transform a 60-person team into a thriving, high-performing organization, building a culture of collaboration while driving growth and profitability. And she knows the challenges of running a practice and specializes in helping leaders gain clarity and confidence and emotional intelligence to build successful teams. And after selling her practice, Jennifer transitioned to an executive coaching, guiding businesses through leadership development, talent retention, and strategic growth. And she joined the Practice Freedom U group to help practice owners navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. So Jennifer, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, nice to be here, Neil. I'm very stoked to have a nice conversation with you.
Awesome. And
I've been hearing a lot about you and I've read your book, so all such a valuable information that you always bring to the world. So I'm happy to be part of that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And Jennifer's actually calling with us here from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. So I wish I was there instead of Richmond, Virginia. But kudos to you for choosing a great place to work. So Jennifer, you worked for many years with Jaco Rehab and you helped transform them into a high-performing organization with a great culture. So back in that experience, what were some of the key turning points in that journey that you helped them through?
Yeah, Neil, you're right. It does not happen overnight. It's not like one day you wake up with this awesome team and 4 clinics and smooth operations. So yeah, to be real honest, it was didn't start that way. A lot of chaos initially and a lot of learning by trial and error. I do remember a lot of instances that were kind of key points. One big one that I remember was when the phone was just ringing off the hook, working hard in the clinic, seeing patients, and then the phone rings with a call from my son's school. My son was sick and he needed to be picked up. So I'm trying to get away from the clinic, and 2 hours later I left the clinic. He was waiting for 2 hours and I felt terrible, of course. So that was one time when I really realized we had to change something. We were barely surviving, just hanging on, but it was not really sustainable with family and just with our own well-being. So that was one big turning point to start making systems and start to delegate to our staff and just thinking bigger than just everything has to rely on you. So that was a big one. And then there's lots of little ones in between, like turning points. I remember having a physical therapist in the beginning, first couple of years, and he was good. And he was like, why do we keep having to grow? We have a beautiful company. He was happy to be part of it. He wanted to keep it small, and he voiced that to us. I was like, can we just keep it like this and surf and have a good lifestyle? And why always growing? He was kind of triggered by that. So then I told him that if you're a business owner and you want to just stay the same level, you're actually shrinking. So that for us was not an option. So I really noticed that we're dreaming big. We want to really have more impact on the islands and offer careers to our people and just try to bring that high quality physical therapy to more people. That was a strong why. And we knew we had to just keep stretching, and we liked the challenge of that. So that person left. He started his own clinic, which is also part of growth, right? Sometimes people are not there. They don't want to grow with you, and it's good to find out. So that is okay. And it all worked out. We just kept on course because we knew what we wanted. By that time, we really figured it out, and we knew we had to surround ourselves with people that wanted the same.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because one thing that I've definitely learned in my journey in business has been that you always level up the people that work with you. And so the people either are going to grow and transform and grow with the practice, grow with the organization, or they don't grow and then they exit. And then you find someone who is that next level that you didn't know about or didn't think possible, and that helps you go to that, that next level in business.
Totally. I saw you not when I said you'd be shrinking if you're not growing. You
That's
agree
so
with that too,
true.
right?
Yeah, and it's very easy too. Like we can get in the mindset like I want to be comfortable. I don't want to stretch further. I'm gonna, I'll be okay with this. And you can be okay for a little while, but you at some point will get beat out by a competitor or shrink or the
Yeah.
environment, the economy, whatever may change. And if you're not always pushing for that growth, yeah, you're going to run into challenges. In fact, I had a person reach out from one of our blogs the other day, and it was fascinating because he'd been in practice for maybe 40 years or something like that. And he was talking about how things had changed so much for him, and he was trying to keep small. And so he'd been fine for a while and been comfortable prior to COVID. And then we know how COVID changed the world and changed the dynamics, and I think accelerated all kinds of stuff after that we saw in the economy. And now is in a position where lost a PTA, lost a front desk, have lots of challenges with the front desk. And so that's one of those areas where if you may be okay for a while, but if you're not pushing forward, you will at some point start to fall back.
Keep developing, keep hiring, right? Make the pie bigger. So yeah. And another conversation I remember, I always try to surround myself with wise advisors, people that have been there and that I can trust. And then one of the people was an advisor who sold his healthcare company, big healthcare company in town. And I remember talking with him, and that this sentence really stood out to me, that he said, if you ever want to sell your clinic, which I didn't think about at that point, you need to get more locations. And that I shared that with my husband. And it's like, this is so true. We needed to hear that. What are we going to do at some point? We can't run the business forever. We checked with our kids. They were teenagers then. Do you want to take over our company? And of course, there was a big no. It's like, no way. They'd seen everything that we had gone through. So they're like, no, thank you. And that was actually good because I couldn't see these kids working as a boss for our leadership team that has been with us. They've seen our kids as babies, right? And then those babies will actually be in charge of them. So I didn't think that was a good idea either. So that all turned out well. And yeah, we made that leadership team just really take ownership. And then we sold it in our company in 2020. Luckily, right before COVID, we still stayed on for 5 years and definitely kept working as hard as before that just to get through that, because we felt really strong about being there for our team, especially in times like that. It was difficult. So, but yeah, the leadership team still runs it the same way as we do. The vibe is the same. The values are the same. Vision is the same. They're super motivated. They have a great drive. So it makes me proud.
That's
And
fantastic.
I'm really
And to be able to build
so,
something like that, right? To be able to kind of build
yeah,
it there and to be able to that's all part of it, right? I mean, we have to look at the long game. The end game really is exiting
yeah,
some way. You're going to exit
yeah,
the practice somehow, in some way,
right.
at some time. The goal is, are you going to do it on your terms? And what you're building
Yeah,
today is what we will exit with in the future. So it comes back to, like, if you're not growing, what what
yeah,
do you want to bring as far as value out of the business in the future? And if you're not
yeah,
growing, you're not going to have much of value to be able to exit it at some point. So you're in
exactly.
you built it
Yeah.
to a great position where you built the right team in place and the
Mhm.
growth of it, and so that you were then able to transition out of it and know that it's going to run properly there without you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just really nice to help other business owners do the same, make their own version of what we did.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So now I can be there for different business
Mm-hmm.
owners. So that's awesome too.
Great. And so, you work with a lot of clients and you coach different clients, different practices. And
Mhm.
as you've worked with different practices, what would you say separates a high performing practice from one that's just getting by?
Let's see. So yeah, let me tell you about, say, two physical therapy clinics. Same number of staff, same caseload. And one clinic, you walk in the door, the front desk doesn't look up. The PTs are just kind of eating at their desk. Maybe they have their headphones in or something like that, right? Not too much talk, just kind of on their own. And you can just feel that. And then there's another clinic, and people are talking, you're here laughing. It's just a different vibe. The front desk engages with you right away. So I think that's kind of the difference between those two teams. And then, say with the first team, one of the physical therapist wasn't doing so well. She was getting kind of snappy and just kind of not performing so well. So I think it really comes down to then the leader went up to her and said, your performance is slacking and, it's not going well. We need to talk. And 2 weeks later, she gave notice. The other clinic had a similar situation. One person wasn't performing, and the leader went up to that person and said, what is happening? What's going on? Are you okay? So just that different approach. And the girl happened to have an aging parent that needed more assistance. He found out about that. They accommodated the schedule. And then later on, she mentored other people, made the team bigger, and she stayed. So that's kind of that example of what is a great team, what's a high-performing team, and what is kind of getting by. They don't really stick their head out for each other, or they don't cover for each other. So I think that really says a lot. And I've seen it myself too in our clinic. Even same company, 2 different clinics, the feel can be really different. And it really kind of matters how the leader shows up. If it's curiosity or judgment, do the people feel safe in that environment? So that's what I feel is the role of the leader, to really make that team strong, that they know each other, they care about each other, they find out how they're doing personally, because it shows up.
Yeah, that's great advice. And what a good example, because you've got, if you look at your practice, right, one of your greatest assets, aside from your customer list, is your people.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes so much money to bring someone on, train them up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars, maybe half of their year's salary, maybe sometimes a full year's salary, depending on the position, and trying to get them up to speed. So it's a significant investment in the people in your business. And if we're quick to judge, if we don't look at the reasons why they're performing the way that they are, then it's easy for us to either fire that person, or they might go out on their own. And so that's a perfect example where we have to realize that we're dealing with people. So, and people are dynamic, things change, and they may not express why they're having problems or issues. And you just notice things in the clinic, and they may have been a good performer at one point, and they're not anymore. Things are happening. So that's a perfect example of just, hey, I'm noticing these things, what's going on, and giving them an opportunity to be more open. And then if there's something like that where they have to maybe take care of, family member more, or something's happening in their life, can you arrange something with them so that you're accommodating, right? Maybe they need to get out earlier or something like that. If you're accommodating and it's a good fit, then they're much more willing to stay, right? And grow and build with you. And I think that's, I think if you look at businesses, I know like within our business, we have people that have been with us since the beginning, right? And grown and evolved. And so if you have people that stay a long time and grow with you in your business, that's a good testament to building that culture that you're really looking to build.
Yeah, that's really, they're the soul, right? The people are the soul and the energy and the connection of the business, and it's so important. So we started to hiring kind of with that in mind. Instead of looking at all the good resumes, it's more like, what is their mindset? What's their character? So that really made a big change in building that team.
Excellent. That is one thing too. It's hard to train soft skills, but you can train more technical skills, or you go that way. So I like that you were looking for more of the personality fit, right? And skills, the soft skills that, rather than just purely by maybe their experience in their resume.
Yeah, and then you got to model that at the same time.
Very good point.
Too, right? Modeling, if you have to own your mistakes, and that you're not this perfect person or leader that has to do everything right and knows everything.
Yeah.
We got to be humble and be able to learn from our new hires or whoever is already in the business. So
100%.
And I think asking those better questions to them will create that respect, that mutual respect that you need.
Absolutely. So
to build that.
You built a great company culture, and company culture is something that everybody wants or they've heard about. And so, what really is good culture, and and what does it take to make that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the culture of collaboration is nice. So people feel important, they feel seen. And we talk about that buzzword collaboration, but for me, it really means team spirit, kind of natural, not forced. How we communicate and listen to each other, show up for each other. So I think, and also addressing when there's friction, don't go out of the way, address it, have those real honest conversations. So I think that if, as long as you get to know each other well, they have to know you and you got to know them. So you have to really take time for that to open up and find out
And as you grew
what way.
in Jaco Rehab, there, I'm curious, like that's one thing when you're the owner, right, and you're having those
Yeah.
conversations with, say, like a PT on the front lines. What happens when you grow and then you have like a director of a clinic? And like, is that something you work to
Yeah.
instill in them? Like, how do you coach them through that part?
So we really like everybody to know how we think, not just tell them what to do. So every Monday we had a team meeting with the leadership team. And then what we came up with is even invite someone else from the team who's not in the leadership team, could be a junior or senior position. We took turns rotating them through. So we'd get in this room together and we would prepare, say, the team meeting for that week, the monthly team meeting. And then I think it really helped because they saw how we think, how we make decision, what goes into the decision, that we weigh so many things before we come out and say, this is how we'd like to do things. So that is collaboration to me, that they know how we think. We ask them for feedback. They have a voice in preparing the team meeting instead of just giving a sheet, this is what we're doing. And we did that with everything. When we had to buy new equipment, we would ask them, what equipment would you like? Right? We make their clinic too. They take ownership. What can we use? What have you seen? And then we would make somebody do the research and then come back, talk about it. And then we talk through like what are the pros, what are the cons, what's the investment. So really kind of introduce them to that business acumen to make them think like a leader at every level. And we did that with always just including them
That's excellent. And so
into that.
did you notice that with like certain personality types or certain people within the clinic that you might give them maybe a bit more of that kind of research topic, or if someone like really liked marketing and things like that, you might have them
Yeah,
involved in that? Are those like native geniuses that you look for in certain
yeah,
people?
yeah. I really believe in utilizing everybody's own strength and then complementing each other. So if someone is kind of quiet and interested in more like IT side of things or social media, we would line that up.
Mhm.
Or we have really detail oriented people that really like to make maybe the mentoring outline or something, manuals that need to be made. So kind of match them what they're interested in and what gives them energy. So we don't give the wrong job to someone and it drains their energy. So, but you have to know them to know what they like. So you really have to ask the right questions and be interested in their life and what they've done in the past and what skills can come in handy. So really utilizing that and
Yeah, that's excellent. So that's a great point that we're looking for with our team. We know there's a gazillion jobs to do within the
mm-hmm.
practice, right? And a lot of times we have a limited
Yeah,
team to do that with. We're a small business, we're growing. And even within, if you have multiple locations, you've got a finite amount of people within those locations to accomplish different things. So the
yeah,
more that
yeah,
you can look and leverage the team that you have, and
yeah,
I love what you're talking about, where if you're looking for someone's native genius, look within the practice and look at that, PT. Maybe they're that super bubbly kind of personality, loves talking to people. You know that they're on social media a lot. Have them help out with your social media stuff a little bit, or if they
yeah,
are really technical and they like certain things, maybe they can help you with, certain, mapping out technical things within or technical processes within there. So like we don't
yeah,
have to
yeah.
focus on 100% patient care 100% of the time. Like that
No,
really helps a lot with growth and retention, is when we
yeah,
give those other little business activities
yeah,
to our
yeah.
especially to our professional team.
And the fact is, if they take on the project, they're gonna have ownership in that, right? They have skin in the game. They want the project to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's gonna be buy-in right away. So we sometimes think, oh, we shouldn't collaborate. So much talking. What's gonna get out of it? And we have to be efficient. Let's just make the decision quick so we can do it. We know what we want. But then maybe you don't get the buy-in, or you're totally on the wrong track.
Mm-hmm.
Because you still got to get the team facing the same direction. So
Yeah.
when they create that system, it's going to work. You're going to slow down in the beginning, and then later on, the train takes off,
Awesome. I love that. And so you talked about obviously having people might help with research with equipment purchases. We talked maybe a little bit about like where they could help with marketing or maybe physician liaison stuff. Is there any other key areas that you found that that the team could help out with in making decision processes within the clinic?
Yeah, we did a lot of community events. So there's so much in the community, all these triathlons and swims and lots of activities. So even with that, we would ask people, what community event would you like to be part of? Sometimes it's just a wellness day in a senior home. So we would really ask them, what's your interest? What is the patient clientele that you would like to see? And we would have them bring that in, see how many visitors would go, how many therapists we would want to put on it. And then if they were leading that, they hustled up the other therapists to come out in the weekend and to work it. So just with everything, just take them serious. We see them. We think of what they would need, what would motivate them. That seemed to really work.
Yeah, I heard that that's a great example. I mean, I did hear that from another podcast that I did.
Yeah.
And they were explaining like they had an opportunity. One of their therapists was an avid runner. So like, hey, can we help you run a running clinic, right? Or like at a running store or something like that. And they were really excited about that project, and they kind of built that out. So again, it's tapping into what your, especially your therapists love and like, and what their hobbies are, and where can you leverage that in marketing for your practice, right?
Yeah. That's for them worth sticking around for, right?
Yeah.
When someone listens, I can actually create my vision within this bigger vision and be stronger together. So
yeah, I know in that example that I was just talking about, that they actually built a whole like running program, and it became quite popular. And now this person heads up this, and they have multiple people now part of this sports performance and running programs. And so like they're able to take that and take it to a place where they never thought it would be possible.
The top 10% of PT owners aren't just surviving, they're thriving. But what's their secret? Well, Neil Trickett's new Market to Grow book reveals how the top 10% of PT practices leverage marketing systems to simultaneously grow their new patients, attract top talent, and boost profit in their practice. You can learn from their secrets. Visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free copy of Market to Grow. Yes, you heard that right. We are shipping a free copy of Market to Grow to all podcast listeners who want it. Just visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free book. And now back to the show.
Yeah, we did that with concussion program. And the other way around too, if they might be kind of not so happy or grumbling about the clientele, it's like, okay, who would you like to see? How can you take an active role in bringing these people in, right? Always thinking of when you come with a problem, how can you solve it? How can you create it? You have agency, you have influence over this. We're listening.
Yeah.
Just tell us, and we're honest. If it's not a good idea, as business owners, we have tried different things in the past. So let's just have this conversation about it.
I'm curious then, so in the practice, did you end up leveraging the talents of the therapist to even create programs or segmentation where certain therapists were, they were running certain programs in your practice?
Yeah, it was tricky. We were hesitant about it because we've had also, say we start an ACL program. This one person is super interested. He's kind of leading it. And then what if he leaves, right? So it has to be always cross-training. There's need to be 2 or 3 people that are interested in it that can keep running it if one person leaves. So we've learned the hard way with that. And we're always a little more skeptical. Let's think about it, think through it real thoroughly before we started something. So say with women's health, we waited a long time because we had to get that the door, we had to do construction to get the doors closed instead of curtains, and have the therapist for it. So it would be more of an investment. And we weren't sure for a long time if we wanted to veer off what our product, what our services really stood for,
Yeah.
what people knew us, like our reputation. So we really just talked about it a lot. And I think that's where the voice of the team really comes in. And at some point in the end, the team won. We're offering wonderful women's health and physical therapy. So it just, you got to listen, right? Because other people leave and they won't have a good time. So it has to work for everybody.
Absolutely. And you got to plan it out too. It makes sense, right? You can't just go, hey, let's go do this one day. And then you said you got to build redundancy into your programs, cross training, things like that. Like, what does the future look like for the program? But I'm a firm believer within a practice that if you just have a bunch of generalists, PTs, you won't expand as fast as if you focus in and you build programs within your practice. So like if you want to do it with the most common issues. So you want to have a spine program, you want to have a shoulder program, knee program, run, like whatever it may be, right? But if you have the people who have a passion for that particular thing, you have someone who is really into, baseball and they love shoulder problems and they like to focus on shoulders, like build out your shoulder program. And you can really market that, promote it in a certain way. You can build that, especially pages within your website for that program. You'll get a lot more people for shoulders, and then that person can be happier focusing on those areas rather than making that therapist do every body part, peds, vestibular, all kinds of stuff that maybe they're not as good in, and they might have more patient drop off if they have that happening. So I'm a firm believer in like narrow down, focus, leverage the people that you have, the passions that they have, and build out programs within your practice for it.
Yeah, exactly. We did that with Pilates, for example. Some PTs are really interested in doing Pilates, so it brings in different clientele, which is good exposure.
Absolutely.
For the community. Yeah.
And so Jennifer, can you talk to us a little bit about emotional intelligence and the kind of role that plays in creating a successful and stable organization? I know that this is something that you've talked about before.
Yeah, it's close to my heart for sure, because I've seen great results with it. Talking about that people part of being a business owner. So I think today's leaders, they're really navigating a lot of change and uncertainty. It's pretty relentless. So I think in that kind of world, emotional intelligence is not really an option anymore. It's kind of the operating system for the sustainable success, I believe. And a couple reasons for that. One is the stress and the burnout from our people, right? Our team.
Yeah.
And then it's that being so digital, like we're connected through technology, but the human connection is maybe not growing as fast. It's kind of, we can use a little bit help with that at the moment, I feel. And then also just because we have to adapt to all the changes all the time, emotional intelligence comes in really handy for that.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of a buzzword too. So a lot of people say, what does it exactly mean? So it's kind of the ability to recognize and then understand your own emotions and the emotions of other people. And then with that information, you can use that to guide how you respond to things, how you think, and then how you lead. So it's really that kind of social awareness, self-awareness, and then how it shows up in relationships. And it's really in functionality, in practicality, you show up and how can you hold yourself steady when things are tough and tense? How can you have a difficult conversation? How can you lean into that with compassion and not reacting? So I think it's super helpful to not be afraid of those kind of maybe conflict or friction situations. And
You bring up a great point with that, and sometimes you can think, oh, emotional intelligence, that's kind of fluffy stuff, right? But there's a lot to it, right? And if we think about, we always think about IQ, right? Intelligence quotient, but then the complement to that is emotional quotient. And there's so many studies that show people that have a strong IQ and have a high EQ, wow, they are like doers, right? And they are leaders and they make things happen because they have the problem solving capabilities from the IQ, and then they have the relatability and the ability to understand others and lead others and make decisions from the emotional capabilities. And so I think that's often an area that we overlook as business leaders is the emotional intelligence of our team. And it's something you should have built into your hiring process for sure, is like, what are we identifying from the problem solving capabilities, the smarts of someone, but then how are they able to really relate to people? And that makes it so much easier, the culture, the dynamics within the team, but also their ability to relate to patients, to get them to do things. And I know we can all think about therapists in our clinic that are just really good at working with patients, and patients absolutely love them. They love coming to therapy, and like we all know those doers in our clinics, right? What if you can have more of those people in your clinic and fostering that? And I think that's where focusing on emotional intelligence really comes into play.
Yeah, what we were saying earlier, do you go for the resume, right? The kind of the IQ, or the mindset and the character, the EQ? That's really kind of what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
It comes down to inspiring others, which is what our job is. With that EQ, you can really inspire others and have more empathy.
Yeah, it makes your job, makes your life a lot easier when you have the passion, right? The emotion,
Exactly.
positive emotion, right, from your team. And with each other.
Yeah, and that's the part of the work that I do now with my clients, right? I help leaders lead in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that serves them really is them best, because we sometimes react and it doesn't serve us well in the long run.
Yeah. And I think it's good too, like as a leader, to know your strengths. So an example is myself, right? I love solving problems, right? And I look at systems and process. I'm good at that, right?
Like puzzling it out.
Yeah. I'm okay with people. I mean, being a therapist, a lot of practice over the years, working with people and that. So I think I'm pretty good at that too. But my wife, Amy, who's my partner, she is phenomenal at working with people, right? And building their passions. And she has an amazing, emotional intelligence as well as a high IQ.
Yeah,
so our strengths complement each other. And when she's always thinking about working with the team, building the team, getting the team to work together, working with our clients, all that kind of stuff. And that frees me up to think about moving products and systems and things with the company forward. And so I think as a practice owner, looking at, what are your capabilities? If that's not a strong area for you, like the, working on the emotional capabilities, the culture building, maybe you have the ability to have a director in the clinic that is very good at that, and can you lean on them or empower them to foster that and build that forward? Is that something that you've seen before in practices?
Yeah, every clinic that we have, we put 2 clinic directors on. So our leadership is nine people for 4 clinics, and the 2 clinic directors per clinic, they complement each other well. They have different styles. And I can see before we put 2 clinic directors with more the same tendencies, and it didn't work as well. It's really nice to when they can complement each other. And yeah, working with your partner in the clinic, I know what that is like, and we really complemented each other well.
That's really fascinating. So tell me about your approach with 2 directors in the clinic, and like how many people would they oversee in the clinic?
So most clinic, or they're all different amount of people, but I've read somewhere a long time ago that one leader can pretty much max deal with 5 people. So we most clinics have 10 therapists, and we have long opening hours. Before COVID, we did 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. So we definitely needed 2 clinic directors to cover most of the hours. And even the therapists weren't always with the clinic director, but it was definitely necessary. It also brought some issues with, I do more than you, when there's 2 partners, I'm staying longer and all that. So there's definitely that friction that we had to address. And then they get to know each other better and develop respect for people being not exactly the same as them. And that's what found important for me as an owner, that I would navigate that together, almost like, kind of, let's sit down. What do you have? What are your skills? How can we make this work together? So that was where I came in and got strong with that team building and where are the gaps and what do we have to do to kind of narrow those gaps so we can work together and complement and actually come out stronger together.
Excellent. That's a really amazing approach, and that's makes so much sense when we having two directors there to, there's so many different levels that works and helps, from obviously the coverage, right, was one, but just sometimes it can be lonely at the top, right? And you're trying to, if you don't have someone to ping pong off of, and of course they're going to report to you as a practice owner, but it's nice if they can report to a colleague, right, a co-part, and kind of work things out where that's not always coming up to you to problem solve, right? I love that approach. It's fantastic.
And it's a lot on their back, so much responsibility, and it's sometimes a little traumatic what you see, what happens to your people and everything. It's shocking sometimes because it's non-stop, right? Everything what patients bring in, staff brings in. So just to have a person there that you can bounce things off, talk things through if something happened that kind of keeps you up at night, just that support of two people, I think really helps them with the sustainability to be able to do it for a long time and not get burned out. So I think that there's definitely something in there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Support of each other.
That's the first time I really heard of that. And I love the concept. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. If you have this, the volume for it, right? But I love that.
Yeah.
And so again, working with a lot of practice owners, what are some of the common leadership blind spots that you see hold practices back from reaching their full potential?
Let's see. Like one of the biggest blind spots I see in leadership, and especially in private practice, is that owners, they're quick to judge. So we kind of like to think black and white. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We're assuming things. So we think it's faster if you just make up your mind, oh, this person is not interested, or they're lazy, or, we say all these things, they're not committed. And we kind of jump to that too quick. We write people off sometimes. So I think just finding out, maybe you're assuming that they know where we're going, what our expectations are, and then not thinking that always the worst. So really giving them that curiosity that they deserve and sitting down with them instead of assuming and judging quickly. So I think that is one really important thing that we can all grow on. We don't know, maybe they're not performing because they're overwhelmed or they don't feel seen on the team. And then when you do something about that, they can all of a sudden become star employees. I've seen it lots of times, people that were kind of disengaged in the beginning. And then I'm already thinking like, this is not going to work. You want to be efficient and just say, let's move on to the next thing. And every time when I invested a little time and just sitting down and getting to know these people better, and maybe they really didn't believe in themselves and they thought they had all these limiting beliefs for themselves. So I could coach them, and then they could get more confident and more clear on what we needed. And I could get more clear on their key motivators, because people have different things that motivate them. And I can't assume that it's all the same as me. Right. But in the beginning, and we just assume that everybody works like us. So why are they not taking out the trash or doing this or that? Don't they see it? Right. And then you get in that kind of trigger mode.
For sure.
Sounds familiar here and there. Or does it resonate?
It resonates for sure. And so, Jennifer, you said that, leadership isn't something that we're necessarily trained for. What were some of your biggest lessons that you learned the hard way?
One is kind of piggybacking on that. Really, my to-go-to leadership style was always being the pace setter. So that was my primary, how I showed up. So I wanted faster and motivate the people, empowering to the max, and just high quality and high standards. And it seemed to be, I thought it was working, and it worked for the motivated people, but not for the people that felt overwhelmed quickly or intimidated by that, or didn't want, say, a cheerleader. They needed to grow at their pace. So I worked with my coach, kind of held up the mirror. It's like, okay, people, it's affecting the team. I'm just going too fast for everybody. And let's just get everybody on board in their own way. So I switched to that coaching style of leadership. So I really learned, I think the best leaders are if you can try to bring different styles in for different situations. So switching back and forth. Sometimes the pace setting is great. The highly motivated ones catch on and we get stuff done, and then go back to your coaching style of leadership. And then sometimes the coercive style is necessary when you're dealing with insurance, like settlements or something like that, or just crises that someone needs to take charge and decides by themselves. Right? So I think having that alignment, that's where we oftentimes go wrong. When there's chaos, it's usually there's like a mismatch in the alignment of what leadership style do we bring to the occasion.
Yeah.
So I guess that's emotional intelligence too, right? Are you reading the room? What is needed for your people? So,
yeah, makes total sense on there. I am guilty as charged in the same regards where I move quick, and some people don't like to move so quick. They're more thorough. They want, I always remember for me, I had a sales director for many years, and it was so funny because she was very planful. She had to know what we were going to work on, what was the plan for it, what was going to be happening 6 months from now, like, and I'm just like, let's go, right? And it's just that different style, that different personality, and so I learned that I needed to have a different approach with her and come to her before I opened my mouth, actually have more of a written out plan or something that was going to guide the conversation. So I think that's a great example of what you're talking about, where understanding the people, the differences in how they approach things, the way that they learn, the way that they listen, have a passion for something. You're working with people, right? You gotta be diverse in how you approach people's needs.
That's I feel strong about being coached yourself. So then you find out these things about yourself, and then you can kind of copy that with your team. Like, how did my coach help me, and then how can I help my team? So really to grow in that aspect was helpful for me.
Yeah, I've seen it in practice owners. I've seen it myself too. In if you're hard at pushing for growth, right, and then it's easy for you to break the team because you don't have all the information on the day-to-day lines and the things that they're coming up against, and you're trying to, like, why are we getting this done, and it may take longer than you think it takes. That's definitely a lesson I've learned over time, is that you got to move towards it and know that it might take some time, and I think the bigger the ship, the slower the turn, right? And I've definitely learned that lesson along the way, and so we have to be mindful with our team that we do enough, we inspire enough to move forward, but then also recognize when we're maybe pushing too hard and need to back off. Right?
Exactly. That's where that growth mindset comes into, because I feel like these are all skills we can learn. We can learn different styles, right? It's a tendency to have one leadership style. I don't want to write off all the other styles. You can totally learn that when you invest time into growing new skills, and that's why that growth mindset, open for new skills. My style is not always working, let's be honest, and then learn the new tricks.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so for you, as you work with clinics and also in building up your own clinic there, how do you balance growth and profitability with creating a supportive environment for your team?
Yeah, great question. I think if you build systems that serve the people and the business, is a good start. And we, like I said earlier, we always tell people, come with the problem, but also think of a solution when you come in. And then we teach them how we think. So we ask them with their new solution, how is that working for you? How is it working for the whole team? How is it working for our referral sources? How is it working for our clients? And how is it working for the business as a whole? And we just made them think like that. So that's how our leaders still think. Like, is it just good for me, or how is it going to affect? And then oftentimes just going through those questions, we come up with the answer. Yeah. Maybe not a great decision, right? It's not going to work for everybody. It's just working for me. And we were really honest and clear that the owner's responsibility was to protect the company, and that we were responsible for the company to be around for a long time. And we had to protect that for all the people involved, people that were paying mortgages that worked with us, for referral sources that had someone to refer the patients to. So like the big ecosystem. And we just upfront okay, we love you, we want the best for you. This is our responsibility. We have to stick with it. And that's where the accountability came in to just be really honest about that. There is a business side to our company, and we can't be people pleasers, because then the accountability might really go downhill. The profits will go downhill. And I feel if you answer all the questions in that way, with protecting everything, including the business itself, because they want the business to be around too, so it's also beneficial for them.
Yep.
Then you feel that there's that trust, because then they know when someone else comes with a great idea, they're going to think about them too, and nothing is going to happen that's not good for them as well. So that trust brings up, like, it's a hustle, but it brings up the metrics to where you want the metrics to be. So I think the metrics were used to not judge, but more as an accountability system to see if leaders were doing their jobs. If some numbers went down, we were asking ourselves, how can we support our team better? Because we might not be doing a great job with the late cancels and no-shows. Why is it going down? So then that was our job to kind of dive in, not necessarily like, we told them before to say this and that to their patients. Now, like, it's not sticking, so we need to step it up and show our team more support. So I like to use the KPIs like that, like a kind of a test or something. Are the leaders doing what we have to do, and then who's not hanging on in that system on the floor that we need to educate more, coach more, invest some more time into it. So I think it really goes hand in hand, having that kind of good culture of trust, and then seeing that in your numbers.
Yes, it's the it's having the caring, right, and the emotional connection part of it, and helping people be the best that they can be, and the accountability, like pushing the accountability, the responsibility to their performance, right? And that's where you have KPIs and metrics to measure that. And then I think it was a great point that you brought up, and that's really helping the individual understand the why and the impact of what that's doing to people, right? So to their patients, to the people within the practice, the responsibility of the practice to be there for the future. And I find that when there have been upsets in the practice, it's usually because of a misunderstanding or miscommunication, because they didn't really understand, like, okay, how much does it cost us to actually provide this service? And when I've had conversations with PTs and I've shown them the numbers, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it cost that much. And we only make this little bit of money off of what we actually treat patients. So making sure that they're part of that conversation, that they understand the why, they understand the impacts. It really brings that buy-in to what we're trying to do in the business, right?
Yeah, exactly. We did realize that too after a while. And then we did the business acumen class with first the leadership team, right? Some people are not comfortable with numbers and money talk. So that was good, was interesting. Just like you said, really was necessary. And there was no comfort or no understanding around that piece. So that definitely is good to address.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, Jennifer, you've given us a lot of great insight and information today. What is the best way for people to connect with you and learn more, or even get help for coaching in their practice?
Yeah, I would love to. If you reach out to LinkedIn, my LinkedIn page, I'll provide that for you to put in the show notes. So LinkedIn is good, and then Practice Freedom U, the website. So you can do a discovery call with me and then see what your needs are in the clinic, and then I'll be there for you. I'll go above and beyond to make sure you get what you want and get the impact that you want, and then the lifestyle, of course, is super important. So I'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, so we'll have that in our show notes there for everybody, how you can get in contact with Jennifer. It's always great to have someone external to your business who's coaching you, who's mentoring, who's helping you forward. And I'm a big believer in coaches. Practice Freedom U is awesome for that. So, and Jennifer does a fantastic job. So please connect with Jennifer on LinkedIn, and then also on practicefreedomu.com. So for Jennifer, again, thank you for being on the podcast with us here today.
Thanks. Thank you. It's been super fun.
Excellent.
I can talk forever. I love to talk shop.
Yeah, it's great talking shop. Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to provide value for our listeners out there. So don't forget to subscribe to the Practice Marketing Podcast here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as check out our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to us on that. We've got tons of free advice. We've got lots of our interviews here and podcasts up on our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that. And then also at practicepromotions.net, tons of downloads, tips for you to improve the marketing for your practice. So this is Neil Trickett from the Practice Marketing Podcast, wishing you much success in your practice.
A free way for you to support our show is by leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's a chance for you to tell us what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it as well. Just scroll down to ratings and review on your phone and click write a review. Thanks.